Hello everyone, it's SpawnPoiint and this is the LG G4 OLED, which I've been using for the last couple of weeks. It comes with all of the usual awesome specs like 4K HDR, 120Hz, VRR, and the game Optimiser mode. But in the new 2024 model, it now comes with increased brightness, a faster processor, and up to 144Hz. Pair that with the Dolby Vision support, those incredible black levels, and the gaming features that we'll go over today. And I think this could be the ultimate TV for both movies and gaming, or at least one of the best TVs of the year. Now, if you're interested in picking one of these G4 OLEDs up for yourself, hopefully this video will answer all of your questions, but if I've missed anything, just drop those in the comments. I've also linked to this TV down in the description if you want to check out the available sizes and prices in your region. Okay, so I'm going to jump straight in and talk about the overall picture quality, and this screen just blows me away. Over the last couple of weeks, I've tried to play as many different movies and games as possible, to hopefully give you an idea of how it looks across the entire range. That includes SDR, HDR, dark and bright scenes, as well as fast-paced movement just to see how it handles motion. And I don't think there has been a single test that I've thrown at it where I've not been impressed. And we're not just talking about it being a brighter TV. There has been a noticeable step up in the overall image quality and colours thanks to the new Alpha 11 processor. So the G4 is an OLED panel, which means straight out of the box you'll notice the incredible black levels. There's no backlight bleed or blooming as each pixel is self-lit, but you probably knew this already. As always, the best way to demonstrate the black levels is with the classic demo LG have on their YouTube channel. And this for me not only shows how crisp that 4K image looks, but also the perfect blacks. Hopefully you can see just how good this looks. Now obviously this shows us how good the black or the dark areas are of the screen, but it doesn't really demonstrate how the details within the dark area are displayed. So here's a scene which is incredibly dark enough that it clearly shows the true black levels, but as you can see it still preserves the detail within the scene. There's always a fine line between those jet black levels that we all want, and then losing so much detail that you can't see anything in the shadows. This is what's called black crush. But I can tell you now there's absolutely no worry about that on this TV. Also, if you're gaming, you can always use the fine-tuned dark areas setting under the game Optimiser mode. This will let you adjust the dark areas to either increase or decrease how bright you want them. Okay, then we have the brightness levels. This year, LG have upgraded the Brightness Booster Max, which we got in the G3. Last year, the G3 had a full screen brightness boost of 70% over the B3, and this is actually claimed to boost the brightness by 150% in a 3% window. I'll be honest, I was skeptical at first thinking, is this something I'll even notice? As you're supposed to see a significant boost in brightness. Well, it's safe to say that for anyone who says OLEDs are not bright enough can rest easy, as this is blindingly bright. It is without doubt the brightest WOLED TV that I've ever used. In fact, I had to reduce the brightness so I could film parts of this video, and that was to prevent the image from looking overexposed or blown out. Now in the settings you can change the peak brightness from low to medium or high, and that's depending on how you want the highlights to look. But personally, I think the medium and the high settings look best. This will then give a noticeable boost in brightness and will make the highlights really pop. It also helps with improving the overall contrast as the dark areas will naturally look even darker. Now, one of the biggest advantages of the increased brightness is the fact you can watch this during the day and not really worry too much about how bright your room is. Like here, for example, my room is pretty bright with the windows at either end of the room, and it doesn't directly affect what I'm able to see on the screen. Of course, when watching dark scenes in a light room, you're still going to see reflections depending on where your windows are. But another big setting they've added this year under the dynamic tone mapping is the professional mode. This now gives us full control over how we want the tone mapping to perform. Essentially, it gives us full control over the highlights in 1000, 4000 and 10,000 nits content. And the great thing is this works across all modes, including the game mode as well. Of course, we've still got HDRG if you'd like to use that for gaming, but this will disable the professional mode once enabled. So I also touched on this briefly during my unboxing video, but the reflection handling and the anti-glare finish on the screen is one of the best that we've seen on the LG OLEDs. It's still glossy, which is what gives us those nice inky black levels and the deep colours, but it's got a really dark tint on the screen which helps reduce that mirror-like finish we often see on OLEDs. Obviously it's still glossy, so if you angle it towards a window or you have windows or lights directly opposite the screen, you're still going to see those. But for me, this is the best glossy finish that we've seen on an OLED screen. And if you liked the LG G3 screen, you will like this as it's practically the same. Oh, and can we talk about the awesome viewing angles? No matter where you view this in your room, we don't lose any contrast or colour. We just get this incredible picture quality no matter where you sit. And talking about the colours, out of the box the G4 just looks stunning. The first image I always fire up when testing out the colours on these TVs is the Ratchet & Clank wallpaper, as it really shows off just how bright and vibrant the image looks. I know you've seen this image dozens of times from me, but it just looks so good. But of course, whether you're watching animated movies to show off how colourful it can look, or a post-apocalyptic series like Fallout, the G4 is more than capable of displaying the perfect balance of highlights, shadows and colours, without looking oversaturated or blown out. Now, I'm not sure about you, but most of the content that I watch these days is HDR and 4K, and this is where you'll get the most out of the picture quality, and especially anything that's in Dolby Vision, as fortunately this TV does support that as well. But not everything we watch is available in 4K or HDR, so you might find yourself wanting to watch SDR or even 1080p content, and that's where the new Alpha 11 AI processor comes in. So it's got something called AI Super Upscaling, where it uses AI to fine-tune and upscale the resolution to make it even nicer to view. I've played some old SDR content just to test this out, and I've been genuinely impressed by just how good it looks. Of course, it's not going to be quite as good as native 4K content, but at least you know you can watch that older content on here and it will still look good. So I get this question asked quite a lot, so I thought I'd answer it in today's video, which is how far do I sit from the 77-inch TV? So I sit roughly 10 feet from the screen, which for me is the perfect distance for that immersive feel. I've tried a few 65s and even an 86-inch screen, but for me they either felt too small or too big. So I really think 77 inches at 10 feet is the perfect size for my room. Now when it comes to gaming on the LG G4, this for me is what sets it apart from the others, and it's got me really excited about gaming again in the living room. Now I've always felt that LG have had gaming in mind at the centre of their TVs, rather than it being an afterthought. Firstly, all 4 HDMI ports on the back offer the full 48 gigabits per second bandwidth. This means we can plug in a couple of consoles, a PC and an AVR or a soundbar, and that's without worrying about one of them being limited to HDMI 2.0. We also not only get 4K, 120Hz and VRR support for console gaming, like hooking up the PS5 or the Xbox Series X plays perfect on here. But LG have this year added VRR support for up to 144Hz, and this will allow PC gamers to get a higher refresh rate on those supported games, which is a first for an LG OLED TV. Now, just like with movies and TV shows, the colours and highlights and the black levels on this while gaming are just unreal. I've been playing a mixture of games just to see how they would look, and as mentioned earlier, I'm yet to find a game that doesn't look good. There are games that I'm replaying now on the G4 that I did complete on the G3, and they 100% look brighter and more vivid on the new screen. Take Stellar Blade for example. At the time of filming, I was about 10 to 12 hours through the main story, which I've only played on this TV. And the detail, the image clarity and the dark areas are incredible. The same goes for games like The Crew or GT7, even Horizon Forbidden West. I could not believe how colourful and vibrant this looked, and it seriously made me want to play even more games on here now. Although playing at night, I did need to reduce the brightness very slightly as it's seriously bright in a dark room. Then there's the motion handling. Now on paper this looks no different to the previous TVs, as it supports 4K, 120Hz and VRR. But from the gaming that I've done so far, this is noticeably smoother than the G3. Like it's buttery smooth when running games at 120 or even 60 FPS, or as smooth as you would expect them at that frame rate with no lag or stuttering. Now I can only assume this is down to the new Alpha 11 processor as it's had a 30% boost in performance, but either way I've not been disappointed with any games that I've played. But one of the biggest and best things about using any recent LG TV, especially this one, is the Game Optimiser mode. So when you press the settings button on the remote control, you get the game dashboard, and this shows you all the options you currently have enabled. This includes the FPS count and if VRR is on. And what's great is you can even customize which options are displayed. So you might want to have the resolution up here instead. And then if you press the Game Optimiser option, it takes you to the full screen, which gives you even more control over the games, how they look and play. So things like the input lag setting, which I have mine set to boost, enabling VRR, AMD FreeSync, and of course that 144Hz mode. And all of these can be toggled on and off within the Game Optimiser mode. Oh, and don't forget, if you press the green button on the remote control several times really fast, it brings up the current stats for the game or the content that you're viewing. So this is always pretty cool to see. As for the speakers on the G4, well, LG have managed to pack a virtual 11.1.2 channel setup into this TV. And not only does the TV support Dolby Vision, but it also supports Dolby Atmos. So any movies or TV shows that you watch that offer this will sound so much better. But have a quick listen to this and see what you think. And another big step up with the audio is thanks to the new Alpha 11 processor is the AI Sound Pro. You can toggle this on in the settings and we have features like the AI voice remastering, and this is used to improve the voices in noisy scenes. We then have dynamic sound booster and adaptive sound control. These are all AI sound features that essentially take the sound and then using AI boost the audios in the scene to create a better listening experience. I've played around with this over the last week and honestly it does make a difference, especially the voice remastering feature. But even with that said, if you're spending this much on a TV, I would probably recommend just grabbing a soundbar to finish it off. I'm using a 5.1 surround setup in mine, but at the time of ordering the G4, LG had an offer on where the LG GX soundbar was included for free, and this comes with both a soundbar and a separate sub. And what I like about this is it's definitely designed to be paired with a Gallery Edition TV, and you can either mount this directly under your TV to give it this practically seamless look, or you can tabletop mount it with the provided stand. And I think from a design point of view, this looks really nice. Okay, so although the G4, like with all of the Gallery Edition TVs, is designed to be wall mounted with the provided mount, and this is how we get that ultra flush look, I can confirm that you can still use a standard VESA bracket or arm with it as well. Maybe you're upgrading from another TV where you've already got a wall bracket on your wall, and you don't really want to go through the hassle of re-drilling holes again. Or maybe you've just got another bracket that you'd rather use like I've done. Well, the VESA holes on the back are 300 by 300 and should work with any arm that can take the weight. But also the 55 and the 65-inch G4s can now be bought with a tabletop stand or a wall bracket, which now means at the time of purchasing you can decide how you want to use it rather than being forced to hang it on your wall. Now I must say that I really like the overall design of the G4, as it looks relatively thin with this nice slim profile, and it still looks premium with the brushed metal frame. I mean, let's be honest, almost any TV that you hang on your wall practically looks the same, but at least this one has no branding or bulky bezels on the front at all. Okay, so over the last couple of weeks, I've had time to mess around in the menus just to see what's new with WebOS 24. Now, if you press the settings button on the remote control, you get this quick pop-up menu on the left. And from here, you can adjust the picture mode, brightness, sound settings, and various others without needing to jump into the full settings page. And then if you press the little edit button at the top of the screen, you can adjust which options you wish to appear in this pop-up as well. Then if you press the home button, we get a full list of apps across the bottom, things like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Prime. And just above that, we have these cards. These categorize various apps into one place, and if you hover over them, they will show the recent info for each one. So under Home Office, it shows we are able to use this TV as a monitor or an extended display, which is pretty cool. We also have a few icons at the bottom, including Windows 365, Chrome Remote Desktop, and Gmail. At first, I actually assumed these were native apps within the TV, whereas in fact, they are just shortcuts which send you straight to the browser instead. Then Games takes us to the Game Hub, which lists all of the cloud streaming apps that we can use directly on the TV. So for example, if you wanted to use the Nvidia GeForce Now, you could install their app, connect a controller via Bluetooth, and you could literally play these games on the TV without any additional consoles or a PC. So this is pretty cool if you want to get into gaming but don't want to plug anything else in. Then back on the home screen, there's this little preview window in the bottom left corner, and this will show you your recently connected HDMI device, or any live channels that you might be watching. And then underneath that, we have a list of all of the trending or recommended shows or movies for each of the installed apps. Now LG have recently announced a new program called WebOS Renew Program, where every year for the next 5 years they will update this TV with new features to improve the whole experience, essentially confirming they do plan to keep this TV up to date for at least the next 5 years. Now when it comes to the picture settings, there are 2 ways you can set this up. Well, 3 if you want to use it straight out of the box with no changes at all, but to get the most out of it, you'll want to play around with the options just to get it right for you. Now the first way is to manually tweak the settings yourself by going into the menu and adjusting these from here, and that's what I do with mine. And the other is to use the AI picture wizard. What this does is show you 6 different sets of images where you choose which one you like the best. Then the wizard will set the picture settings based on your choices, essentially creating a custom picture mode just for you. Personally, I have several different options and modes depending on what I watch, so SDR, HDR and gaming are all different. Although I'll be honest, out of the box the G4 is very impressive, and I think most owners would be very happy with it as it is. Okay, now let's talk about the warranty which is provided with the LG G4. So LG offers something called OLED Care Plus, which is a 5-year warranty on the panel, and this should give you peace of mind for anyone who is concerned about buying or owning an OLED. However, saying that, the G4 does come with loads of OLED Care settings and protection that should help you prevent any issues. So under General and OLED Care, we get things like pixel cleaning, where it will check and adjust every pixel of the screen. We then get Screen Move, which will move the entire image regularly, as well as logo brightness adjusting and care recommendations. All of these are designed to help prevent or reduce OLED panel issues, but it's great to know that you've got the warranty there just in case. Okay, so the ultimate question is it worth buying the LG G4? Well, for me, this TV ticks every single box I need for both movies and gaming. And from a technical point of view, it does everything like 4K, VRR, 120Hz, but it also does it really well. The brightness, black levels, vibrant colors, motion handling, and of course Dolby Vision. And I don't think I'm going to find a better TV in 2024. So yeah, if you were looking for a new TV and you like the look of this one, I have linked to it below. Also, over the coming weeks, I'm going to do a full comparison of this against the LG G3 before I sell it, as I know a lot of you wanted to know if it's really worth the upgrade. And then I'm also looking at buying the C4 to replace my C9 that I've had for the last 5 years. So if you want to see either of these two videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, if you drop a nice OLED in the comments, I'll give you a thumbs up for staying right till the end. And if you did enjoy today's video, check out my full unboxing video next, as it covers everything you get inside the LG G4, including the setup process. Well, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and follow me everywhere. Until next time.